Athletes are constantly bombarded with messages about achieving greatness. Work harder, keep striving, never be satisfied, to name a few. But can this push for excellence for some exact a price on one's mental health? Continuing our mental health awareness series this week, we bring you the story of Hanna Hall, star point guard for the University of Buffalo and a member of the Canadian national team. As Hanna pushed to become the best in her sport, she was also struggling with a mental disorder, and for a time, she didn't even know it. Here is her story.
Like most athletes, I've always been a bit of a perfectionist. But if you don't strive to be the best, how will you ever reach your dreams and how will you get to the top? I tore my ACL going into my junior year of high school, and I never wanted to give anything less than my best effort on the court because I knew what it was like to lose something that I loved. I came back next season, made the Canadian national team, and eventually went on to win the first ever bronze medal at the world stage that following summer. In the midst of all this, I committed to Buffalo at the beginning of my senior year of high school. I came from such a high, not only having the opportunity to represent my country, but starting, leading, and playing a lot of important minutes against the best in the world. But then you get to college, and things change. You go from being the top to the bottom really fast, and you have to work your way back up. I changed my eating habits and started to cut most unhealthy foods out of my diet. Lost a few pounds, felt lighter and quicker, so I kept going. I increased my training and was working out about 2 to 3 times a day. It became out of control and I didn't even know it. My coach called me into her office one morning and said, "Hanna, you don't look good. You're struggling with something. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna help you." I had lost about 20 pounds at that point and most of my muscle was gone. Coach made me start seeing a psychologist at school, and I was a little hesitant at first, but decided to give it a try. I remember thinking that psychologists were for people who were struggling with real mental health issues and who couldn't deal with things on their own. But that wasn't me. I was fine. I was just trying to be the best I could be. At my first appointment, my psychologist told me she was diagnosing me with anorexia. But I thought, I'm not anorexic. I'm just an athlete who lost weight to get in shape, to be faster, to be stronger. I went home that summer after my freshman year, and my friends and family didn't even recognize me. My mom was in tears when she saw me. I finally realized I had a problem. I was sick, and I needed help.
And we are pleased to have Hanna Hall with us now. Her video about her battles with anorexia have gone viral. Hanna, what did you do to get the help that you needed?
I think for me at first it was actually accepting that I needed help. Originally I was getting the help I needed that was told to me by my coach, but I wasn't actually buying into it. I was just kind of doing it to do it and make people happy. But when I got home and realized how sick I was and the effect it had on my family, that's when I really started to buy into the therapist I was seeing, really open up to that. I started to look into therapy more and see the ways that it could really help me. So that was my first steps when I got home.
Why did you decide to share your journey publicly?
I know that for a lot of athletes, they go through a lot of struggles. It took me a long time to realize I needed help, and for my family to feel the way they did, and for me to be in such a dangerous place in my life. That being said, I wanted to be able to maybe be a voice for athletes, to be able to avoid getting that far in their mental health and be able to reach out for help before getting that far and allowing it to be a career-ending thing for them. So that was my goal in going public.
Okay, and you achieved that certainly for so many just watching your video. I want to ask you, anorexia is commonly known as an eating disorder. How does it manifest itself as a mental health disorder?
I think for a lot of people who are really unaware of eating disorders and how they work, is it's not just usually a single eating disorder that you struggle from. It's often accompanied by, anxiety, depression, a lot of other things come about because of the struggles that come with it. But for me personally, it was through basketball and through trying to be the best I could. I never really realized that I was overworking myself and not fueling my body enough. And it eventually turned into something that was not what I was able to face on my own. So for that, those are kind of the struggles that come with something like an eating disorder, especially for an athlete.
And so now in your training, how do you know when you've crossed the line from training as hard as you can to be the best that you can be to in some ways exacerbating your disease?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's still a battle. It's still a struggle every single day, but it's important for me to just kind of slow down sometimes and recognize and reflect and think about the training I'm doing to be more specific and, really think about what I'm doing instead of just going through the motions. I find that when I get into a routine over and over again, that I'm usually probably not in a good one. So just being able to listen to my body and know when I'm tired and know that if I don't get those extra, 100 shots up that day, that maybe it's going to help me, and that rest and recovery is going to help me rather than out tire me. So
Hannah, we have just a couple seconds left. For those out there who might be struggling with mental illness issues, what do you want them to know? What message do you have for them?
listen to yourself, listen to your body. Don't try to be a hero during this time. This is something that's bigger than all of us. It's a lot more difficult than we seem. For all of you athletes and teammates out there, reach out to one another and just check in on each other a little more than you would usually do. It's okay for all of us to struggle right now, but it's not okay to do it alone. So just reach out, use your resources, especially on your teams, your family, whatever you have. This is just a short-term thing, but let's make sure we're all taking care of ourselves through it.
Hanna Hall, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And be well and stay safe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
You're welcome. And if you need more information, you can visit NAMI.org, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And if you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or is in emotional distress, contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Communications are free, they're secure, and they're completely confidential.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.